DEI is a horrible, horrible thing for the country. And in this video, I'm going to prove it to you why DEI is horrible and shouldn't even be a thought for businesses. So, I'm guessing you guys know the NBA is like 75% black, right? And obviously, back then, it used to be 100% white. So, when they stopped DEIing and hiring based on skin color, they actually got better and the quality got better. It's proven. The NBA is better than what it was in the 1950s. NBA sucked in the 1950s. No one watched that. But when they actually started hiring based on who was better, the product got better. And now they say, well, you DEI'd. Well, they really didn't. They didn't really DEI. They actually picked who was better, which was African American people who were the best at NBA. Now, you could say as a stereotype, 75% of the NBA is black, and that's because they're picking on who's the best. The best people are getting drafted because you're not going to draft because we're going to get more white people in the league. No, we shouldn't do that. As a white, coming from a white person, you should not hire based on who's better. If I'm watching the NBA, I want to watch the best games possible. I want to watch the best players on the court possible, and DEI will actually ruin that. See that if you that claim right there already disproves DEI because you can use that in any other thing. You can use that in the workforce. Let's say pilots. 97% of pilots are white. If we start hiring based on DEI, you have lesser qualified people to fly your planes. You want to get the most qualified, no matter on skin color, no matter on who you are. If a black person is more qualified than a white person, bring them in. But you can use that NBA statistic if you're debating someone that supports DEI. You can actually use that statistic again for everything because DEI will ruin everything. It will ruin worker performance, which I'll get into later in the video, how that can really hurt the economy. But if we're hiring on who's better, the NBA, MLB, football, NFL. Like if I'm watching football, if I'm watching the Super Bowl, I don't want people that because it's diversified. That's gonna suck. The product's gonna really suck, or it's gonna go down, and less people are gonna watch. And that's why DI can't work because again, less people are gonna watch, which means that NBA is gonna crash because they have less people watching because the performance isn't as good. You need to have people who is most qualified for the job. I don't understand how this is a controversial take. DEI is so bad for business. So bad for business. Next, it's unfair to qualify people. So imagine you go to law, right? And you study your ass off, right? And then you get taken by a spot because someone wants skin color over who's better. That first of all, that's racist to the person they say, well, we can't hire you because you're white. That's racist. That's racist, first of all. And that's so unfair. That is so unfair to the person that's actually qualified and more qualified. If we're going to try to hire more Mexicans for MLB, and you're telling me those people that are better at baseball, right, who are better at baseball are going to get effed because we got hired on DEI. The pilots, right? Imagine you go pilot school, you do all this studying, and you are really qualified for your job, but you don't get hired because they need more black pilots. Kamala Harris, because president. That's what she's pushing. She's a DI candidate, but I'm gonna get that later in the video. But for example, again, elaborating on that, it's really bad for the people that are actually qualified. We should be hiring on who's more qualified and who's not, right? If you're not qualified, get qualified. Like you gotta put in your work. You can't be always bailed out for your skin color. Like that's really stupid, and that's actually racist to the group that you're discriminating against. If black people are better at NBA naturally than white people, because that's what that's culturally what they do, then that's racist towards blacks because they're minoritizing them to get white people in. and the product will suck, and NBA viewership will go down. I would promise you if that ever becomes a bill gets passed where the NBA has to do that. I'm telling you, you can call it now. You can save this part of the video. The viewership will go down because less people are gonna watch because the quality of the sport, the quality of the viewership, the quality of game sucks. The product would suck. Same with any sport. You can do this with any sport. Same hockey. Hockey's another example. Hockey, if you get more people, more Mexicans, more Latin Americans that are usually baseball or soccer, right? If you hire more of them, that's gonna ruin the product. That's why sports will never follow DEI. And that's why businesses will never follow DEI. Business will, if they care about their business and they stop wanting to be woke, they will never hire on DEI. They will hire on who's better, who's more qualified. Okay, this is racist towards the group that you are minorizing, whatever words. That's hurting the people that are actually qualified, and especially if it's also groups of skin or groups of sexuality. You're either oppressing straight people or you're oppressing gay people. You're either oppressing blacks or whites or Mexicans or Italians, whatever the hell, right? You're oppressing as them. We should not be oppressing. We should be hiring on who's more qualified. Okay. I mean, Charlie Kirk said it best. I'm not going to say his quote because someone might take this out of context, but you know his quote, and I really agree with his quote. Because you have to think, you have to second think, because you might have hired this guy on DEI. Is he really qualified? Is he qualified? Because he's hired on DEI. Is he qualified? You have to think of that. That's racist for doing that too, because now you have to think extra. Is this guy qualified? If it's a white guy, more white people in basketball, you think, is this guy really that good, or is he just hired on DEI? Is he just drafted on DEI? Please think about that. Now, Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate. First of all, Joe Biden himself said that he got Kamala Harris to be VP because she's black. That's DEI right there. First of all, Kamala Harris is not a good candidate. She is only popular because she was a vice president, and she wasn't a good vice president, obviously. That's a different video. She was hired on DEI. She's a DEI vice president. They didn't pick on who is better. If you're going to pick on who's better, you got to go with Josh Shapiro, Gavin Newsom. I mean, Gavin Newsom sucks. But still, you're taking... He only was picked because she was black. He only picked... Joe Biden would never picked her. Right? And she's not even the best of, women that are, in the Democratic Party. There's so many better. And he picked her because she's a woman and she's black. I guess that's the perfect mix right there. Yes, it's the perfect mix. Again, Joe Biden said this himself. She was a DEI candidate. And you know what happened? The border was not closed. The border was open, and she did a horrendous job on closing the border, and 10 million illegal aliens came in through the border. This is why we don't hire on DEI, because if you had someone else who take control of the border, they might be a little bit better. Okay, they might not have done as horrendous of a job as she did, right? Legal immigration for another video, but she did a horrendous job. And this is another thing why we can't hire on DEI. DEI will always fail. It's proven. Statistics, like I gave you in Harvard. Harvard tried hiring more people, not hiring more people, getting more people that are white and black to their schools. You know what happened to their grade levels? Their tests, they went down and became less of a prestigious school. Obviously, they're still a very prestigious school, but they're not as prestigious as they once were because they started hiring on DEI. They started getting kids on DEI, this is proven. There's so many statistics that show that DEI cannot work. It can't work. If you push DEI, it will not work. And most businesses will not follow this because they know this is stupid. Name one business, United Airlines, 5 seconds. They try doing it, off. Right? Harvard's gonna stop doing it. Harvard did stop doing DEI because you know how stupid it is. It won't work. It can never work. DEI can never work ever in any business. Okay, I can't believe this is a controversial claim to not support DEI. There's no argument for it. The statistics are always against DEI. You're not hiring on who's most qualified. You're hiring on race, which is, again, racist to the people that you're minorizing. All right. I hope this video helps someone that's in the middle of there trying to learn. All right. I want you to do your own research, obviously, with statistics. Statistics really are not in the favor of DEI. All right, it's not equal for all. It's racist towards a group that's minorized. God bless.